start to speak with the students until about 1 o'clock to speak. Okay? Great. Let's give Joe a warm welcome.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Joe Alexander. I'm a Holocaust survivor from Poland. I was in 12 camps. I had father, mother, and 3 sisters and 2 brothers, and I'm the only survivor. I lived in a small town in Poland. We were very comfortable, and until 1939, and the Germans came in. And the Germans came into Poland. They divided Poland in 2 parts. One half of the country, they annexed, called to the Third Reich, to Germany. The other half was Poland under German occupation. A few weeks after they came in, and I know some of you, maybe you know, Europe is, every town has a town square, where most of the business are in the town square. We lived on one corner, the second house from one of the corners on the square, and they came in to the town, and it was about 3 weeks after they came in. And they went in from the town, from the square. They took out the people, went in and told them they have 10 minutes to get out in the middle of the square. They can get whatever they can get, any of their possessions. They have 10 minutes. For some reason, which I'll never know, is the corner where we lived, 3 houses. One house from our side to the left and one to the right. The one to the on the left side was a uncle of mine. And this is the 3 houses they left. They didn't touch. Right now over there, a rumor starts that they're going to come back 3 days later and take the rest of the people. So my father had 3 sisters living under Warsaw, which it was Poland under German occupation. Their life was going on almost like normal. So he said that we're not going to wait for them to come and get us in 3 days. We'll pack up and we move there. So we packed up whatever, as much as we could, took out from the store. We had a store. And whatever you could put up, had a big wagons, and put a few pieces of furniture like bedding and things on the top, because you had to go through a border from our side to the next side, like we're moving. So they moved, my father and my younger brother and sister, they moved one in the next day, and then one, and 2 sisters and I remained, and the next day we moved with another wagon. So we got there, and it was normal. Life was going on normal for a time. But we were there about 3 weeks or so, and I had to go to the camp. So that was my first camp I went to. The camp I went to, we were building a canal. I was staying in the water, and that was around the end of September, beginning of October, without any boots, barefoot. So I got blood poisoning. all my legs, my arms. But on the weekend, you could go home. So after a few weeks, I went home on the weekend, and I said, I'm not going back. So I didn't go back, so the police came looking for me. So they came looking, so my dad said, he's not here, he's supposed to be in the camp. So I stayed away for a couple of weeks so to cool off. I didn't stay home. Went to my relatives, my friends, stayed until it cooled off. And at the same time, they were building the Warsaw Ghetto. So after a while, after they got built, they had to make the walls, build it around where the ghetto is going to be. So they came out and they said, gave it a certain time that everybody within about 50, 60 kilometers has to move into the ghetto. So we moved into the ghetto, and I lived in the ghetto for about 4 months. But back home, it was quiet. Nothing happened. It was the same thing, what happened before. So my parents decided for an older sister and a younger brother. I had a brother younger, he was the youngest, was 12 years old. And we should go back home. So getting out of the ghetto, we had to pay off the guards to get out. And we started walking, but we decided to split up. I'll take one street, my sister, my younger brother, they'll take another street, and we'll meet on the outskirts of town. I walked for about 3 blocks, and a Polish teenager came up to me, he spotted me, and he said, give me some money, I'm going to report you. So I figured, okay, I'll give him some money and I'll get rid of him. And I kept walking, but in the meantime, he got on the streetcar, and he rode the streetcar for a few blocks, and he came over again, give me some more money. So at that time, okay, I gave him some more money, but I changed, I took another street to get lost of him. So I lost him, and I met my sister and brother, and we went back home. We came home, 3 days later, they said, older man 16 to 60, report to the schoolhouse. So I was free for 3 days. And we were taken away, went to the camp. And going to the camps, I was going camp to camp. The reason I was in 12 camps is because the camps I was, people were dying. Every day people were taken out. And the camp was getting small. Same thing, we had lots of camps surrounding one of the city called Posen. And the same thing happened in other camps. So what they did is they combined 2, 3 camps into one camp. Okay, there I was working, building a dam, loading up little cars, the dirt, they carried the dirt from one place to another. And the camp, I say, was getting small. So I had to move to another camp. The other camp, I was working, building the sewers. We built sewers, big, put in those big rails, big cement rails. And that lasted for a while. And then I got moved to another camp. To a camp into a big city. We were working, and I was laying cobblestones on the street. Was a roofer, and I was a electrician, all different kind of jobs, and finally I wound up building an airport. But the life in the camp was, in the morning, you got a piece of bread, I would say about this size, and a cup of coffee, and you went to work. You came back from work, you got a soup. The soup consisted of either potato peels or spinach. That's what most of the soups were. The living quarters it looked like we lived in that's what it looked like. I don't know if you learned anything about the Elie Wiesel. Yeah. That's him right here on this picture. So I was moving. That's why the reason I was moving. Somehow I was healthy enough, I guess I would say, so I survived all these camps. Finally, after being in 7 camps, we went to Auschwitz. Came to Auschwitz. We were driving around in a train, in a boxcars, with a little window, about 2 feet window, one little window, no air, no food, no water. Driving around where we could have gone from where we were going, where we were supposed to go, within 4 or 5 hours maybe, but we were driving around for three and a half hours a day. Driving for a half a day, stopped, stayed there for another half a day, drove for another few hours, and we stopped again. So it took us about 3 days before we got there to Auschwitz. We came to Auschwitz. By the time we got off the train, maybe 30–40% of the people died in the train. We arrived in Auschwitz. At that time, later on, they had the trains built, go straight into the camp. But when we arrived, we had to stop. There's a little town called Auschwitz. And the train stopped there. It was 6 kilometers to go to the camp. So we got off the train, lined up in rows of 5. And we saw, and if you heard, it was Dr. Mengele. If you heard about Dr. Mengele, he was called the doctor of death. He was the experiment on people. So but my luck was, in a way, it was bad luck and good luck. For me, it was a good luck that night, because it was after midnight. And when Dr. Mengele was going through, and he called, if you heard about maybe the people, he picked people to go to the left, To the left, the people said they're going to be taken on trucks because it was 6 kilometers to walk to the camp. And they'll be taken on trucks. And he picked me out to go to the left. Going to the left there, at that time I had my 3 cousins. My cousins and one of their nephews, which here is his son. That's when we got separated. I got separated from them at that time. So when I went over to the left and I looked around, because I was already in 7 camps, is I always try any place where I went to work, any group, I always try to get in to the biggest, the strongest man. And when I looked around here, those were sick people, the old people, and I said, no, that's not the kind of people I want to be with. So my luck was, I said, it was after midnight. Maybe it would have been daytime, I don't know if I could have done it. So it was after midnight when Dr. Mengele moved further down, I ran back to the other side. The next morning, we found out that the people on the left went straight to the crematorium. If I didn't run back to the other side, I wouldn't be here talking to you. So anyway, we went to the Auschwitz, went to the camp, and we came to camp, went in the shower, and got out of the shower. We got tattoo, a number. So you got this number. That's from there on, you had no name. That was your name. The number was your name. So I got the number, and then I went, there's 2 Auschwitz. There's Auschwitz I and Auschwitz II, which is called Birkenau. So I went to Birkenau, and there we were just walking around for a while. In Birkenau, they said they used to come up almost weekly or so. Dr. Mengele used to come. I saw him 2 more times there, saying they wanted people to go out to work. But there we didn't trust them first. If they asked for people, if I could, we were hiding. Didn't appear. Finally, they came and they said they need tailors. My whole family, we were tailors. My father, my grandfather, we were all tailors. So when it's called tailors, I report right in front of me. They cut off. You go back. We don't need anymore. We have enough. So I went back. Then, a few weeks later, they said they need people to go out to work for the transport, but they didn't want to take any people from Poland. They only wanted the Hungarians, the Italians, whatever, Romanian, anybody but Polish. But on the end, they were short about 300 people. They said, now we'll take the Polish people. So I reported again and got on the train, and the same thing, you're driving around for days. We didn't know where we go. I guess on the 3rd day, I think it was, that one of the guards told us that we're going to Warsaw. Have any of you ever seen the movie The Pianist? Well, if you saw The Pianist, you would see what it looked like. That was after the ghetto uprising. All the houses were burned out. Were just walls remained. So we came to Warsaw. There was no camp. We had to start to build our own camp, so we just put up some prefabs and start building the camp. There's no showers, no clothes. The clothes we were wearing, there was no clothes anymore. The shirts you were wearing was just shreds. It was eaten up from lice. Then typhus broke out. So people were dying from typhus. So by the time we finally built showers and built a camp, a different building to stay in. And then on Sunday, we went to a shower and getting fresh clothes. But people were dying from the typhus. If you reported, you went to the hospital, that was the end. You never came out. I had the temperature, but I had a good couple. What you call a couple, was like a foreman. He was a Polish German, an older man, but he was also a prisoner. And he was very good. Where he didn't care, work, no. But actually the work, what we were doing is taking apart all the remaining walls from the buildings, brick by brick, and cleaning up the bricks and stacking them up in big piles. And then he had Polish people came in with the horse and wagon, and they were taking the bricks to the railroad station because they were sending them back to Germany. So that couple didn't care if we did work or didn't work. The only thing was he had a signal for us. If a German officer came to inspect, he used to yell, scream, "Hey, you lousy people, get to work." So that was a signal somebody is coming to inspect, so get busy. And he was okay. Matter of fact, I had a big boil on my hand here, usually a real big boil like this. And I couldn't break it. If somebody was saying put some onion and put it over fire, maybe it will break, but it didn't help. So the same couple said to me, "No, what? Come on, I'll go with you. I'll take you to the hospital." And they'll cut it up, which I did. They cut it and drained it. I don't even have a scar or anything. So it was okay. So after a short time, the Polish underground started to free our camp. They were fighting all night, and they were unsuccessful. So the next morning, they took us out, and to get out of town, we had to jog. Didn't want us to walk. They were afraid they're gonna attack us in the city. So we had to jog to get out of town. So we got out of town and started walking. We walked for about a half a day, and so in the afternoon, they took us over to a big field, which a field where the farmers usually graze their cows, and it was a field where it was moist. The ground was very wet ground. So they took us on that field, and whatever means you had, a knife, a spoon, whatever, we dug up some of the mud and squeezed it through a piece of cloth, some cloth on the shirt or something, to get a little water. So we got some water, and the next morning we start walking again. So we walked for a while, and we came up to the next town, was a river. So they let us go to the river to get some water. So we came to the river, so two of our people went a little too far in the river. They thought maybe they were going to want to get out of the river on the other side, escape. So they got killed right in the river, they got shot. So we got some water and we start walking again. So we walked, came up the next town to the same river. But at that time, they said they only go 100 people at a time. So we got some more water again, and we start walking again. We didn't even know where we're going. Finally, we came up on late afternoon. It was heavy, very heavy rain, very big storm. We walked in that rain, finally came to a railroad station and stayed there overnight. Next morning, a train arrived. And at that time, the same thing, you go and get on the train. Usually you get on the train, you go on a car, on a boxcar, which are 40, 50 people in a car. And riding around the same way, 2, 3.5 days, 3 days, whatever. But we didn't know where we're going. But at that time, we went to Germany. In Germany, to a camp called Dachau. Dachau was the first camp Hitler built in 1933 for political prisoners. Then he turned it into a concentration camp. It was the second worst camp. Auschwitz and Dachau were the worst two camps, with all the crematoriums now. So we stayed there for a couple of weeks, and they were establishing 12 camps in the surrounding area from Dachau. It was 12 camps. They went by number, 1 to 12. So I was sent out to camp number 1, Kaufland. And I was working on a farmer digging potatoes. We dug potatoes there, but that was actually a good thing because we were digging potatoes. I made a fire and we were baking potatoes, so we had some baked potatoes. So that lasted about 3 weeks until we dug all the potatoes out. So I was sent to another camp, camp number 7. That was called the city of Landsberg on Lech, the river Lech, about 50 kilometers from there. And that was the camp where it was a small camp, but there were a group of us. We were already for almost 5 years in the camp. So we were the ones that got the seniority, they got the good jobs in the camp. The people, my friends, they worked in the kitchen, some were policemen, and all other good jobs in the camp. And gave me a group of 10 people to walk right outside the camp to the kitchen for the German guards. So I worked there, and I had 2 German officers with me. They were very good to me. They were very good. So we were there, and then every day we used to have food left over. I used to put in a can. They had the farmer's milk, big milk cans. I put it in. And the next morning, people were going to work. They had to pass by our camp. So I stopped them and I gave them some food. The officer But the guards complained to my people that I'm holding up the people to go into work. So he told them, don't worry about it, forget it. So I was there until, that was already in April 28th. We all had to go back to Dachau.